listening to make it.
Welcome to Summaries. Let's dive in. I'm Alex Ivy.
And I'm Allison Inverness.
I want you to imagine something for a second. Imagine you've been working your day job for like a decade.
Okay. Pretty standard.
Right. And you decide to post this personal passion project online, strictly for fun. And the project actually hits a modest milestone. It gets a Vimeo staff pick.
Oh, that's a nice little win.
Exactly. So you open a bottle of wine with your partner, you head out to a local restaurant to celebrate. But when you come back and check your email before dinner, your inbox is suddenly overflowing.
Like spam.
No, like aggressive offers from 20th Century Fox and top-tier Hollywood talent agencies.
Oh, wow. That is wild.
It is. And today we're doing a deep dive into Magali Barbe. She's a London-based filmmaker and visual effects artist whose career did exactly that, literally overnight.
It really is a remarkable trajectory. And, to give you some context on where we're getting this, we're extracting the key insights from an incredibly detailed interview. It was originally featured on the Make It podcast, which is hosted by Chris Barkley and Mick Buggs. And we're using Magali's story to explore, well, not just how modern creative careers ignite, but what her work actually reveals about our relationship with digital reality. Because it's getting complicated.
It really is. But to understand how that viral moment even happened, we kind of have to rewind, right? We have to look at the 13 years she spent building the foundational machinery of blockbuster cinema.
Because she didn't just come out of nowhere.
Exactly. She started by studying fine art in Paris, and then she moved to London, and she eventually settled into this career as a CG animator, specifically as a pre-visualization or previs artist.
Right, on some massive movies.
Huge ones. We're talking Wonder Woman, Kingsman 2, Fantastic Beasts, and Avengers Endgame.
Which is quite the resume. And, we really need to unpack what a previs artist actually does because it's so central to how her brain approaches filmmaking.
Yeah, break that down for us.
So when a studio is shooting like a giant superhero film, you can't simply block off a city street and detonate a series of expensive practical explosions.
Right, and just hope the camera captures the right angle. That would be insane.
Exactly. So a previs artist builds a low-resolution, three-dimensional simulation of the entire sequence. And they do this before anyone even steps foot onto a physical set.
It makes complete sense, really, because if you're renting a camera package that costs, thousands of dollars an hour.
And paying a stunt crew tens of thousands more.
Yeah. You need mathematical certainty. You need to know that a specific camera lens will actually capture the car flipping through the air at the exact right frame.
Exactly.
I mean, a previs artist is essentially an architect running a high-stakes stress test on a digital skyscraper. They're confirming the structural integrity of the scene so the studio feels safe, pouring the concrete.
I love that. That's a perfect way to conceptualize it. You are manipulating physics, timing, and camera logic in this virtual sandbox. But doing that for 13 years, it comes with a psychological toll.
I can imagine. You're building the sandbox, but it's not your sand.
Precisely. Working on someone else's script and animating someone else's vision, it teaches you the intricate mechanics of blockbuster production, sure, but it leaves you completely devoid of creative authority.
Right. You have zero control over the final edit or the screenplay.
Right. Magali actually felt like a highly skilled cog in this overwhelming machine.
Which naturally leads to a breaking point, right? Or, well, in her case, a creative pivot. She wanted to be the architect of her own building.
Yeah, she wanted creative control.
But the fascinating part to me is that her breakthrough project, this short film called Strange Beasts, it didn't even start as a film.
Wait, really? What was it?
It was originally conceived as she wanted to create a fake commercial for this highly advanced, non-existent augmented reality game. It was literally just a purely visual exercise to stretch her muscles.
Kind of like a tech demo, just for fun.
Exactly. So she brings in some friends from the visual effects world to help with the shoot and the digital rendering. But once they actually saw the proof of concept, the way these digital creatures were interacting with physical space, her collaborators were like, Magali, this is too compelling to waste on a simple joke.
They saw the potential.
Right. They pushed her to weave an actual narrative through it.
And I think the takeaway for you listening is really profound here. When you completely remove the financial and institutional pressure of the Hollywood system, you accidentally reintroduce the one thing studios always struggle to manufacture.
Genuine creative risk.
Yes. Spontaneous play often leads to these breakthroughs that calculated career moves completely miss. She just wanted to make something interesting, and that sheer lack of stakes allowed a story to organically emerge.
Yeah, just making something for the fun of it. And that transition from a fake commercial into a deeply philosophical narrative that brings us to the core themes she explores.
Which are so relevant right now.
So relevant. Her two major short films, Strange Beasts and her subsequent project, This Time Away, they really serve as these opposing mirrors reflecting our future with technology.
Let's start with Strange Beasts, because that one dives into the profound isolation inherent in augmented reality.
Yeah, and the setup of that film is remarkably deceptive. You have this protagonist pitching this vibrant, interactive, virtual pet.
Right, it feels very Apple or Google.
Exactly. The aesthetic is incredibly polished. It mimics the exact tone of a modern tech product launch. But then the film concludes with this haunting visual shift.
Oh, I remember this part. It's so eerie.
It really is. The camera pulls back, and we see this man standing completely alone in a public park at dawn. He is gesturing wildly at empty air, just talking to himself.
Because the AR is only in his head.
Right. From an outside perspective, he looks deeply unwell. And the chilling implication there is that the rest of society is likely indoors, equally isolated, just interacting with their own artificial companions.
It acts as a stark warning about how easily technology can sever our connection to the physical world. But the interesting thing is, she doesn't stop there.
Right, she flips the script.
She does. With her second short film, This Time Away, which actually stars the actor Timothy Spall, she pivots the perspective entirely. This film focuses on Max, a highly advanced robot actively attempting to repay a life debt to a grieving, profoundly lonely older man.
So in this one, technology is positioned as this empathetic, connecting force.
Exactly. It's the opposite of Strange Beasts.
But wait, hold on. There is a specific detail about the design of Max the robot that I think we really need to scrutinize.
The way he looks.
Yeah. Magali and her character designer went through roughly 15 different iterations of this robot.
Yeah.
And they deliberately avoided those boxy industrial shapes you might see in something like WALL-E.
They wanted rounder shapes.
Right. But they also made this highly unusual texturing choice. They gave this futuristic robot the physical texture and finish of a 1970s kitchen appliance.
Oh, I love that detail.
It's so weird, right? If tech companies in the real world are spending like billions of dollars to make our devices sleeker, utilizing seamless glass and brushed steel, why on earth would a visionary director design a futuristic machine to look like a vintage toaster?
Well, it comes down to a really deep understanding of human psychology, specifically the mechanics of the uncanny valley.
Oh, right. The uncanny valley.
Yeah. For those who don't know, it's that instinctual revulsion humans feel when something artificial looks just a little too human, or when technology feels excessively sterile and advanced. It literally triggers an evolutionary alarm bell in our brains.
Like danger. This isn't right.
Exactly. If Max had been designed with seamless glass and glowing modern interfaces, he would have felt intimidating. Cold.
Yeah, he wouldn't be comforting at all.
Right. So by wrapping this highly sophisticated artificial intelligence in the familiar, tactile shell of a 1970s appliance, she disarms both the viewer and the lonely character in the film. It makes the technology feel grounded, warm, and approachable.
It's basically the equivalent of hiding a supercomputer inside an antique record player. It fundamentally changes how you emotionally interact with the object.
It does. And this design choice reflects Magali's overarching philosophy. Because of Strange Beasts, audiences frequently assume she possesses a strictly anti-technology worldview.
Yeah, that she's just a tech pessimist.
But she openly admits she is simultaneously fascinated and terrified by it. Strange Beasts illustrates how digital ecosystems can engineer isolation, sure, but This Time Away explores how robotics could theoretically bridge the gap for those who are already forgotten by society.
She's just observing the tool from both angles.
Exactly. She's not taking a side.
So, Magali spent over a decade faking reality on a computer screen for entertainment. But, what happens when that exact same digital manipulation escapes the contained environment of a movie theater and enters our daily news feeds?
That's where things get scary.
Yeah. The interview explicitly connects the fictional anxieties of her films to the very real, very current consequences of the Silicon Valley ethos. You know the one.
Move fast and break things.
That's the one.
And that philosophy, deploying beta versions of technology into society and dealing with the collateral damage later, that is the defining characteristic of our era.
We're living through the fallout of that approach right now.
Yeah.
Especially concerning social media algorithms.
Oh, absolutely.
Because, the initial utopian pitch for social media was that it would act as a global town square, seamlessly connecting humanity. But when you look at the actual architecture of what was built, we inadvertently constructed an engine optimized to scale conflict.
This relates heavily to the failure of the marketplace of ideas theory.
Right, explain that for a second.
So, historically, sociologists and philosophers believed that if you introduced all concepts into a public forum, society's collective good judgment would naturally suppress the harmful or toxic ideas.
The cream rises to the top, basically.
Well, quality would rise, toxicity would sink. But the architects of these platforms missed a critical variable.
Human neurobiology.
Yes. We discovered that human beings are deeply, almost helplessly entertained by outrage. Friction holds our attention far longer than harmony does.
It's so true. It's like we can't look away from a car crash.
Exactly. And because the algorithms governing these platforms are strictly designed to maximize time on site, they quickly identified that outrage equals engagement. They began actively rewarding and promoting the most inflammatory ideas because that is what keeps our eyes locked on the screen.
The tool itself has no morality. It is simply a mirror reflecting and amplifying our basest psychological loops.
And the Source interview actually ventures into even more alarming territory when discussing the horizon of deepfakes.
Oh, man. The deepfake discussion.
Yeah, they reference a specific, highly viral deepfake of Tom Cruise. It was engineered with such precision that it was virtually indistinguishable from authentic footage.
I saw that. It was terrifyingly good.
The conversation suggests we are rapidly approaching a paid, cryptographic verification system will be mandatory just to prove a photo or video hasn't been synthetically generated.
Which is just wild. And, I am continually frustrated by the standard defense you hear regarding deepfakes.
What's that?
People will casually say, well, the public just needs to be more media literate and use their best judgment.
Oh, right. Like it's just a matter of education.
Exactly. But that severely misunderstands the mechanism of what is happening. When a piece of synthetic media perfectly mimics the cadence, the lighting, and the micro-expressions of a human being, it is not simply fooling your intellect.
Right, it goes deeper than that.
It is hacking your biological hardware. Our eyes and ears evolved over millions of years to implicitly trust the physical evidence presented directly in front of us.
Seeing is believing.
Exactly. When a deep fake effortlessly bypasses those sensory safeguards, it is a hijacking of our evolutionary biology. It's not a failure of our critical thinking.
That is a highly accurate, if unsettling, framing. We are literally trying to process 21st century synthetic manipulation with Paleolithic sensory organs.
It's a mismatch.
A huge mismatch. And the velocity of this technological advancement is staggering. The discussion in the source material also broadens to include genetic manipulation, specifically CRISPR technology.
Wait, how does that fit in?
Well, they cite the existence of bully whippets. Have you heard of these?
Oh, what is a bully whippet?
They are dogs that have been genetically altered to possess a mutation resulting in double the normal muscle fiber.
Oh my God, that sounds completely unrelated to filmmaking at first glance.
It does, but it is the exact same underlying mechanism. Whether you are manipulating the digital code of a visual effects shot, the algorithmic code of a social network, or the genetic code of a living organism, human ambition is vastly outpacing our ethical frameworks.
Wow, yeah, that makes sense.
Altering CGI without a safety net results in a bad movie. Altering DNA or societal truth without a safety net, that is an existential risk. It is the physical manifestation of moving fast and breaking things.
Yet, despite grappling with all these heavy existential themes in her art, Magali maintains a surprisingly grounded perspective.
She really does. She's very calm about it all.
Right, she doesn't view technology as an inherently malicious force. She recognizes it simply as an exceptionally powerful lever.
The outrage on our timelines, the hyper-realistic synthetic media. She isn't paralyzed by these developments because she understands they are just tools amplifying the pre-existing conditions of human nature.
So we have this artist, right, with 13 years of high-level technical expertise who synthesizes all these complex philosophical anxieties into a visually stunning, low-budget short film.
Yeah.
The next logical question is, how does the established industry respond when that project actually hits the open internet? Well, this brings us right back to the timeline of her viral evening. She releases Strange Beasts, And as we mentioned, the ceiling of her ambition for this project was just getting a Vimeo staff pick.
Which she gets.
She gets it, opens the wine, goes to dinner, and returns to find major studios trying to contact her. And the underlying mechanism of that response is fascinating. Hollywood executives assumed Strange Beasts was a heavily funded multi-million-dollar proof of concept, a feature film.
They thought it was a studio-backed project.
Yes. The illusion was so perfectly executed that the industry professionals couldn't identify the seams. They had no idea. It was essentially a passion project rendered on a shoestring budget by a VFX artist and her friends.
That is the ultimate compliment.
It really is. And from there, the networking domino effect activates. It provides a masterclass in how access actually functions in the entertainment business.
It's all about who you know.
Exactly. A colleague from her daily previous work on Fantastic Beasts catches wind of the viral short. That colleague happens to have a direct line to David Heyman.
He's one of the most prolific producers in the world.
Right. So the colleague forwards the link, Heyman watches it, is immediately captivated by the vision, and personally connects Magali to a high-level agent at United Talent Agency.
Wow. Talk about a fast track. Almost instantly, she is flown to Los Angeles to participate in what the industry informally calls a water bottle tour.
Let's explain that, because I think it's a fascinating ritual. For those listening who are unfamiliar with the term, a water bottle tour is when a talent agency schedules a grueling marathon of general meetings for a newly signed client.
It sounds exhausting.
It is. You are driven from studio lot to studio lot, taking 4 or 5 meetings a day with various executives. And in every single reception area, you are offered a complimentary bottle of water.
Hence the name. But the crucial insight here is that a water bottle tour is rarely about pitching a specific idea.
No.
Not really. It is an endurance test. The executives are bringing you into those plush offices to gauge your stamina, your conversational agility, and your temperament.
They're seeing if you crack under pressure.
Exactly. They are evaluating whether you can handle the immense pressure of a studio system, and frankly, whether you are someone they actually want to spend months working alongside in an editing bay.
It is a high-stakes personality audit masked as a polite meet and greet.
That's a great way to put it.
And navigating that world required her to adapt to completely different production mentalities. In the interview, Magali actually contrasts the structural differences between the French and British film industries.
Oh, right. The dichotomy there is striking. In France, the film industry is heavily subsidized by the government through an institution called the CNC.
Which sounds great on paper.
It does. Having access to robust funding sounds ideal. But it creates an environment where independent filmmaking can feel deeply institutionalized. It operates much like a regulated, bureaucratic 9-to-5 job.
Lots of red tape.
Exactly. The safety net is large, but the process is incredibly slow and committee-driven.
Contrast that with the environment in the UK, where funding for short films is notoriously scarce.
Very different vibe.
Very. The lack of institutional money forces this gritty DIY approach. You cannot rely on a grant to solve your problems. It necessitates building a passionate, grassroots community of highly skilled professionals who are willing to donate their weekends, simply because they believe in the artistic merit of the script.
And that drastically alters the energy on set. When no one is there for a paycheck, everyone is there for the passion of the craft.
That's all heart.
Yeah. That is exactly how This Time Away was produced. She drew on a dedicated crew who just wanted to contribute to a meaningful vision.
And as she navigated this rapid ascent from anonymous previous artist to highly sought-after director, Magali absorbed a significant amount of industry advice.
Naturally, everyone wants to tell you how to do it.
Right. But her takeaway on the value of that advice is remarkably unconventional.
She finds the vast majority of standard industry advice to be inherently patronizing.
That is a bold stance. But when you look at the mechanics of her success, it makes perfect sense.
It really does. The standard playbook dictates a very specific path, but every creator's trajectory is idiosyncratic. For instance, the most frequent advice given to emerging filmmakers is to be patient.
Wait your turn.
Exactly. Wait for the right producer, wait for the grant money to clear, wait for the perfect conditions. But Magali explicitly states that her severe lack of patience is the primary engine of her career.
Wow.
If she had been patient, if she had waited for a studio to greenlight her vision, Strange Beasts would still be a folder of unrendered files on her hard drive. Her impatience was the catalyst that forced the project into existence.
See, this highlights the incredible leverage of permissionless work. For you listening, you don't have to wait for an authority figure to validate your potential. She utilized the exact technical skills she had been sharpening for over a decade, bypassed the traditional gatekeepers, and manufactured her own undeniable proof of competence.
She did it herself.
Yeah. And when the work is executed at that level, the gatekeepers come to you.
It proves that creating and distributing your own high-level work is infinitely more effective than aggressively networking at industry mixers.
Absolutely.
However, Magali also addresses the sobering reality of what happens after you kick the door open. Gaining access is merely the prologue.
Right. The moment the industry acknowledges your talent, the metrics of success completely change. Before the viral short, you are operating with total anonymity. If the project fails, literally no one notices.
There are no stakes.
Right. But after the viral short, you carry the heavy expectation of being the next visionary director. The pressure to choose your follow-up project to prove that the initial success wasn't just a fluke and that you can manage a massive budget is immense.
It's a whole new level of stress. We have covered a vast amount of intellectual territory today.
We really have.
We analyzed how a decade spent engineering digital blueprints for blockbusters forged the technical foundation for an independent breakthrough. We examined the dual nature of our digital future, how augmented reality threatens to isolate us, while tactile, thoughtful robotics might offer unexpected comfort.
Yeah, that 70s toaster robot.
Exactly. We explored the philosophical dangers of algorithms that monetize our outrage, the biological hacking inherent in deep fakes, and the sheer power of impatience when applied to permissionless creativity.
It is a phenomenal narrative of an artist understanding the mechanics of reality, manipulating them to tell a story, and watching as the real world rushes in to reward that vision. But before we conclude this deep dive, I want to leave you with one final thought.
Okay, let's hear it.
It's drawing directly from a beautiful analogy shared by Chris Barkley in the original interview.
Oh, the piano metaphor.
Yes, the piano. So Barkley points out this fascinating rule of musical theory. If you attempt to play an F-sharp major chord on a piano, but you play the white keys and the black keys immediately adjacent to one another, clustered tightly together, the result is awful.
It just sounds like noise.
Right. The notes clash. It creates this harsh, dissonant friction that is deeply unpleasant to hear. However, if you take those exact same notes and space them out, placing them several octaves apart across the keyboard, the friction disappears.
The chord suddenly sounds breathtakingly beautiful and expansive.
Exactly. He equates this to the mechanics of human relationships. We require a degree of space and distance to create harmony. When we smother each other, when there is no breathing room, we generate conflict.
It is a really profound way to visualize the necessity of boundaries.
So, as you process everything we've discussed today, consider this. The entire objective of modern technology, from the algorithms prioritizing our feeds, to the augmented reality layers we wear, to the theoretical companion robots of the future, is designed to eliminate friction. The goal is to close the distance, to make every interaction instant, seamless, and perfectly optimized.
No space between the keys.
Exactly. But if we allow technology to successfully eradicate all the friction, all the distance, and all the messy, unoptimized space of real human interaction, do we lose the beautiful music of humanity in the process?
That is the defining question of our generation, and the answer is arriving faster than we think.
Stay inspired. And until next time, be better, be creative, be engaged. And thank you for listening.
Hey everybody, Chris here. Before you go, if you enjoy our work and want to support what we do at Make It, please subscribe to the Make It Podcast channel on YouTube and rate and review on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. We have terrific tees, hoodies, hats, and more at cottonbureau.com. Just search for the Make It Podcast and our store will come right up. If you have feedback for us, email us at contact@bonsai.film or find all things Make It at our Beacons AI site at www.themakeitpodcast.store. You can also follow us on Instagram, TikTok, and X at _Make It Podcast. You can find us on Facebook just by searching for The Make It Podcast. And until next time, and on behalf of the team at Make It, be better, be creative, be engaged, and thank you for listening.